Welcome back everyone. I'd love to say that I've had a great week and time to spend on the car, but unfortunately I've not. It's been one of those weeks from hell that you just kind of get to the end and say, well, I just can't teach stupid, so back onto the car where things make a little bit more sense. I have the car braced back up again, ready to take off the sills now that the floors are in. The angles that I had before where the car rests on the jig, the gaps and so on. Once again, they're all good. I think we're off about 0.38 degree on the slope either side, but that could just have been as easy the bad alignment on the jig at the factory. So floor in, everything looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off what's left of the outer sill. But I'm not at this time going to take off the rest of this, and I'm only going to cut it along here. That's to leave some form of rigidity back in it at the moment while I get the middle section done. The middle section, its attachment points are along here in the box section, and it already looks like I'm probably going to have to do some repairs along the box section when it's off. Effectively we'll have to take out all the spot welds here and all the spot welds vertically on this surface up here. The front and the backs of this one's already rotted out, so we'll just be cutting that out and then we'll be getting it back in. A few of the self-tapping screws left over for putting the floor in just for alignment purposes. But let's see if we can get this cut out. If it looks as though I'm going to get a lot of it just torn out because of the state, which is a possibility, will be good. But if I have to do what I prefer to do, we'll be cutting along here just above the box section, cutting along the bottom and then cutting right into that 90-degree bend in there. And the reason I do that is that it's quite easy to take down where the spot welds are, go into the metal and just roll it and let it break as it goes. It leaves the residuals of the spot welds proud, which is easier to take down, which is preferable by me to actually drilling it out, because that always goes through the bottom layer of the metal a little bit. Let's get to cutting and see how we go. Now, just to get back to what I was saying about taking the metal down, slightly. Oh dear, don't get old, it's bad for you. You can see where I took the metal down, and that's what's left of the spot welds, but it hasn't actually drilled into it yet. We have got a bit of box section to repair. But I'll do my best to demonstrate what I mean about taking the metal down and just peeling it back. It's easy to do, it's a lot easier to do when, you know, there we have the start of it. And if you're lucky, when you get to some welds, it will just do exactly as it just did there. If you've took the metal back thin enough, it'll just bend round a bit. But certainly it's a lot less damaging to underlying material as it would be drilling out the spot welds all the way through and then fixing it. Not as easy with some of the other areas of the car, but certainly where you can get a flat run like this. It's when you're not pushed for time, you make a nice job. Those will actually flat off very nicely indeed. Oh, a bit of carnage, but that's let's see if we get that. That's the middle sill out from the box section all the way along, and Unfortunately, the lip was a bit worse for wear, as was a couple of bits along here. So we've got some repairs to do at the end. Now when we put this back in, we'll be plug welding along here as well as up, and then attaching it to the floor. The line is just a little bit off, so, but when I look at the line along here, this is actually a bit bigger, so be able to actually dolly it up. It's okay when it gets to here, but we'll need to include some holes for this curve up around the corner, because that requires spot welded in there as well. And just as well we're in there, because look what I found: occupational hazard, and it's disappeared inside. There we go. How annoying would that rat will be? The car's back together. So we're actually kind of a good place. So wise. There's where we are. Lines up with the lip of the floor nicely. So once we get this in, as you can see, there's that the bit at the end that I mentioned in one of the earlier videos that I had to dolly out to make fit. So later cars must be slightly different than what we have here. So want to keep in mind. But there we have the middle sill just ready to go in. So along here is roughly where we need to do the plug welds, which is just down from those apertures there. We'll get them drilled, get this cleaned up, these bits repaired, get it acid etched, coated, and then we can look at getting the middle sill in. But that might be me for the day. All this working down at low level is ends up being quite a strain, so I'll be taking a break before I do much more, but at least I can do the prep for the middle sill itself on the bench. Before I take a break here, I mentioned earlier about the lip. This is a lip that I basically peeled off like the top of a baked bean can, and with the right amount of force again, it's going to be quite difficult to do this with camera in hand, but we're basically going down at this angle here, as close to the spot weld as we can, and rolling it over the knuckle, and most of the time it will split off, or at least it will save you actually drilling, grinding, trying to get into those awkward corners, because it is quite an awkward space to get into. Now that's probably, if you look at how much of that I did, and it takes a lot less time than drilling them out. Must have got at least a good maybe 500 millimeters of the strip, and cutting off obviously because it starts to bunch up along the way, but I managed to get that hole done. That's been about just over an hour now, and that's it stripped out. It'll probably be another hour or so in getting it prepped, leave the coatings to dry off, and then prep the middle sill and get it in. The actual welding of it in is the thing that takes the least amount of time. This is all the killer stuff, if you will, that does actually take the time. So we'll be on to that next.